With springtime here, now's the perfect time to add ceiling fans to your smart home to help circulate the air and keep your home cool. When it comes to Apple Home, you've got options, and by the end of this video, you'll be better equipped to decide which fits your home best. If you've already got a ceiling fan, then you may be able to just move that into Apple Home using a smart switch. You've got some options, but that will depend on your wiring. Do you have one switch or two? And is your fan compatible with a smart switch? Or just get a ceiling fan with HomeKit support already built in. I've tested it all, so stick around and let's jump in. So what's even the benefit of having your fan in Apple Home? I mean, most modern fans come with a remote control, so they're easy to control. But we can do better than that. Make your iPhone, Apple Watch, HomePod, and even your Apple TV into a remote for your fan, so you can include it in your HomeKit scenes and automations. I set my bedroom fan to low when I set my goodnight scene as I'm getting ready for bed. You can create schedules to turn your fan on, adjust the speed, or turn it off at a particular time of the day, or create an automation to turn your fan on when your home reaches a certain temperature. I've been using this Hunter Simple Connect fan for a couple of years now, and to me, the benefits of having a fan in Apple Home are worth the cost and the effort. So even if you're in a position where you're not able to do this right now, this video will start getting you thinking about what's best for you, and if you're patient, you can probably purchase something on sale. So you basically have two options to choose from: smart fan or smart switch. If you already have a standard fan that you like, then you can save a lot of money by just using that existing fan and adding a smart switch. So let's start there. Most homes, at least where I live, have a single switch that controls both the light and the fan, but it's possible that you have separate switches side by side, one for each, or even a single gang with two switches. The whole idea for this video started with this switch that Meross sent me. This is a 2-in-1 switch for a fan and a light, and I thought, this is perfect because my daughter's been asking for a fan in her room. But it didn't quite work out as planned. So I went to Costco and I bought a fan. I got the Hunter Overture 52-inch fan, and it cost me around $250 Canadian. This isn't a smart fan, that's part of Hunter's Simple Connect lineup, but I like my original fan so much that I wanted to get the same brand. I find Hunter to be quiet, wobble-free, and honestly, I just really like the way they look. First of all, let me tell you, I hate installing ceiling fans. It's really a pain. Supporting the fan while connecting the wires and pushing them up into the box while you hang the fan can be really challenging. I suggest get help if you can. To cut to the chase, this Meross switch didn't work for two reasons. First of all, I foolishly thought that this switch would magically control my light and my fan separately, but it requires a separate wire in your wall for both the light and the fan. Of course it requires separate wires, but who has a single gang double switch? I mean, it must exist, or Meross wouldn't make a switch for this purpose, but even the electrician I hired said that was really strange. Oh yeah, I had to get an electrician's help for this one. This project kept getting more expensive. It was a couple of $100s for a guy to come into my attic and add a wire from the fixture and feed it down through the wall to the light box. The second issue comes down to the fan, and this is important for Lutron Caseta as well. These smart fan switches only work with AC motors, not DC, which is the norm for most newer modern fans. It can be challenging to know if your fan is AC or DC because often it's not specified. Typically, DC fans come with more than 3 speeds and include a remote control. AC fans, on the other hand, typically have a pull chain. So you may have to do some research to see if your current fan is compatible. If you're buying a new fan, then just opt for one with a pull chain. The bonus is that it's often cheaper. In the case of the Meross switch, using it with the DC fan, I could turn the fan on, but I couldn't adjust the speed. At this point is when I started looking into Lutron. Viewers of the channel know that I'm obsessed with the Lutron Caseta reliability. They do require a bridge, but if you're planning on adding multiple switches throughout your home, then it's well worth it. I didn't see anything on the Lutron website about fan compatibility, so I decided to give it a try. So I installed the Caseta fan switch, which looks similar to the original Caseta dimmer switches, but the icons have a fan instead of a light. For the light wires, I capped them together. More on that later. Unfortunately, I had the same issue as I did with the Meross switch. I could control the power, but not the speed. Sure enough, in the instruction manual, there's a note saying not to use with fans that have an integrated fan speed control other than pull chains, and not to use with DC fans. And since this fan has a remote, it has an integrated fan speed controller. So unfortunately, this fan's not gonna work. So this time I found one on Amazon.com. I wanted something white with around 50-inch blades, and I wanted to ensure it included A19 light bulbs, not integrated lights like some have. Again, I stuck with Hunter. This one is called the Aniston. I bought this on Amazon.com as it wasn't available in Canada. With shipping and duty, it came to around $250 Canadian, still less than the original one I bought from Costco. So I wasn't happy to have another fan to install, but it was totally worth it to finally get this working in Apple Home. Just know I did all this work for you, so you can learn from my completely preventable, ridiculous mistakes. I think that's worth a subscribe, don't you? Okay, so here's my final setup. I've got this beautiful white Hunter Aniston fan. It's connected to a Lutron Caseta fan switch, and I've also connected a Pico remote, again with the fan decals for simpler controls. Even though she's got a HomePod mini in this room, physical controls, especially with kids, are always helpful. These Pico remotes are fantastic. I have them all over the place for lights, usually for 3-way switches. You can just stick this on a wall, add a faceplate, you've got a switch wherever you want it. But Lutron also sells these little pedestal stands, and the Pico remote just slides right on top, and then you can set this wherever you want. And having it on a pedestal just makes it a little bit harder to lose. I'm using two 1100 lumen white and color bulbs, and then I've just capped the wires to get constant power and to make sure that nobody accidentally turns the switch off. To control her lights, she can use her phone or this HomePod, or a Philips Hue dimmer remote. These remotes are fantastic. I have them all throughout the house. You can control the power, you can change the brightness, you can cycle through Hue scenes, and as a bonus, you can even set this up in Apple Home, though you are limited to a single press. Typically, I keep this set up in the Hue app, but then for the bottom off button, I set this up with an Apple Home scene. If I press the off button, it'll turn off not only her Hue lights in this room, but also some of her other non-Hue lights, like her Umbus light strip and her twinkly lights. My daughter also has a flick button along her headboard. She's got various lighting scenes attached to this flick button. Physical controls should never be overlooked. Now that I'm using an AC fan with a pull chain and I've had an electrician run a wire from the ceiling box over to this wall box, then I could use this Meross switch and it would probably work fine. Though just because of the reliability that Caseta gives me, I'm going to stick with this Caseta switch. Lutron Caseta is literally #1, and then Philips Hue is, for me, #2. So having this combination of Philips Hue lights and a Caseta switch literally gives me the best reliability that I could ever ask for. Meross is still a great brand, especially for the money, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with Lutron Caseta. Or go all in with a smart fan. This Hunter Simple Connect fan is one that I've been using for a couple of years, and it's been great. I'll leave a link to the original video I did up here. This is great to just circulate the air even in the winter, and at night it provides a quiet, gentle breeze that makes it so much more comfortable for sleeping. Hunter has many options to choose from within their Simple Connect lineup, and not only is the fan smart, but so are the lights, so basically you're getting a 2-in-1. Now this is nice, but it can cause some challenges if you're like me and you like to use smart lights in your fan. If you're wondering why I'm so insistent on using a smart light bulb when this Hunter fan and even that Meross switch are capable of not only powering your lights, but dimming your lights, well, color's nice, but for me, it really comes down to color temperature. This is something that as I've gotten older, I'm far more picky about. If it's dull outside, I want bright, clear white light that makes it look like the sun is pouring in from outside. On the other hand, in the evening, I want more calm, warm light as I wind down for bed. White temperature is critical and more important than color. Let me know in the comments if you agree. I'm once again using Philips Hue lights in this fan, and it's not a problem, except I need to make sure that the Hunter fan light stays on in Apple Home. That means I can't just say, Siri, turn off my lights, because it'll turn off not only my Hue lights, but also the Hunter fan light, which means the next time I go to turn on my Hue lights, the lights won't work. I'm using a Philips Hue remote in here as well, and one thing I didn't mention last time is that when I turn these lights on, it automatically turns the lights on to the correct white temperature based on the time of day. So you're gonna get brighter white lights during the day and then dimmer, warmer light in the evening. Of course, that's all customizable in the Hue app. I'm in my ensuite bathroom right now, and I just want to show you the updated Philips Hue dimmer in case you're interested in picking one up. I definitely recommend, if you have Philips Hue lights, then get yourself a dimmer. To make sure that nobody accidentally turns the light switch off, I'm using a Lutron Aurora. This is helpful because if the light switch is off, not only is it going to affect the lights not turning on, but your fan's not gonna work either. So this is perfect for locking the light switch into the on position. I can also control the power just by tapping it, and it's got a dimmer on here. It looks just like a rotary dimmer, so it's super easy to use for you, your family, and even guests. Again, if you've got Philips Hue lights, I definitely recommend get a Lutron Aurora. Lastly, for physical controls, I've got this flick button right here that controls my lights. And then for the fan, I've got a remote control that came with the Simple Connect fan right here. Guys, I know I say this all the time, but physical controls are so important for controlling your smart home. Please don't rely on Siri. The pros of having a Simple Connect fan, and I'm going to leave out the build quality of Hunter because I'm also using a Hunter fan with the Lutron switch in my daughter's bedroom, but just know that Hunter is one of the best and I haven't had any issues with no response errors. Okay, both the light and the fan are automatically smart. There's no need to worry about whether your fan motor's AC or DC or does it have a pull chain. It doesn't matter. There's no need to wire a new switch. Just make sure that your existing light switch is left in the on position. That also means you don't need to buy a switch so you can save money there, you're just buying a fan. And Hunter includes a remote to have extra controls around your house. On the con side, you'll be forced to buy a brand new fan, which means you'll also get to experience the joy of hanging and installing a ceiling fan. Costly, these fans can be expensive, certainly more than a standard non-smart fan. This stylish model costs around $400 US. Also, these fans aren't available in Canada. The Hunter website only ships to USA, so if you're outside of the United States, then your selection is going to be very limited. I have seen some on HomeDepot.ca or Costco.ca, but it's very hit and miss. Luckily, if Simple Connect isn't available where you live, then you have options. I know I would be just as happy with a standard fan and then just adding a Lutron switch like we've got in my daughter's room. I hope this video gave you a few things to think about on your journey to having a better smart home. Tell me about your setup and have you made any of the same mistakes that I shared in this video? If you found the video helpful, then it helps me to give the video a like and subscribe for more Apple Home content. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.